stop it, and justice and fair treatment to all, which, you know, we all talk about intersectionality today. We think struggles are connected today. But 110 years ago, when the community was vulnerable and they were weak and they didn't have any kind of power or influence or anything, the idea that they would fight for themselves made sense. They would also fight for others, Jewish people, and safer for black people, safer for LGBTQ people, safer for immigrants. You know, my predecessors filed amicus briefs in Brown v. Board of Education, put people on the buses for Freedom Summer, March with Dr. King, long before. I mean, today we talk about Dr. King. He's a hero, and we got a holiday. He was a rabble rouser.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a risk taker. And when ADL stood with him in the 1950s, like, it pushed a lot of people away, but we thought it was the right thing to do. And I'm blessed, like really, really blessed to stand on that legacy now.
Let's go back to 1912, right? Because, you know, a Jewish man got lynched, but I'm sure plenty of black people got lynched prior to that. So,
Lots.
you know, why didn't, you know, Jewish people step up prior to say, hey, man, this is wrong that all these black people are getting lynched?
I'm sure Jewish people did, but the Jewish community didn't create an organization, you know, like ADL before then.
Gotcha.
I'm talking to Johnathan Greenblatt, for everybody just tuning in. One thing that I always have a problem with any group of people is a lot of times we don't have the conversation, so we don't know what hurts, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what's bothersome. We don't know what to say, what we can't say, what's inappropriate, what's defamation, and all that. So, let's say Kanye says, let's say people say Jewish people have all the power, or
right.
you know, Jew. Explain to us what those terms mean to you, and is it hurtful? Is it painful? Is it not? Is
right.
it, you know, like, what is it to you? Like, if you ask me, you know, the N-word, how does that feel? And this, that, and the other, we can define that. But how does that feel to you? And what can we say? What can't we say? What is foul? What is not foul? You know?
But look, DJ Envy, I'm really glad you asked the question. And, like, I'm just going to share, you know, Charlamagne and I have been talking for years now. And a lot of what we do is behind the scenes. Charlamagne and I have been talking for years now. And a lot of what we do is behind the scenes. Charlamagne and I have been talking for years now. And a lot of what we do is behind the scenes. White supremacists getting off a subway train at Penn Station because they've heard, you know, they wanted to go shoot up a synagogue. It's black Hebrew Israelites this weekend. What, today's Monday? Tuesday.
Wednesday.
What's going to air on Wednesday?
Okay. Sorry. So it is over this past weekend in Staten Island on Sunday, a Jewish man who, he must have been Orthodox because you could identify that he was Jewish, and his son were shot by a young man with a pellet gun as they came out of
guns. I did see that, yeah.
And so when he was asked by the police, they said it was a hate crime. He said, how could it be a hate crime if I'm a Hebrew? This is the kind of fiction that black Hebrew Israelites say, that white Jews, quote unquote, aren't really Jews. So anti-Semitism can, if you will, show up as people thinking that white Jews aren't Jews. It can show up as white supremacists. It can show up as people saying, like Kanye, by the way. Kanye got ejected by Elon Musk off of Twitter last week. And Elon says because he put an image up of a Jewish Star of David with a swastika in it. I could tell you there are rallies, anti-Israel rallies every week where they say Zionism is Nazism, that Zionists are committing genocide. I've seen that image a million times.
He said the Israelites caused, because of our rhetoric, black people are shooting. There was 2 people in New Jersey, a father and son, that was shot with pellet guns. That was the first thing he said, because I saw it. But guess what? I don't know if we have the image of who shot the 2 people in Jersey. It was a Caucasian. And a Caucasian shot. That's him right there. What do you mean the Israelites did this? We didn't do this, you lying Johnathan Greenblatt. You liar, you. He is and says, well, in Queens, I forgot where it was, 3 years ago, 2 black people went into a grocery store and shot 3 people and said, because you're not the real Jews. That's a lie. And I challenge Johnathan Greenblatt, produce the evidence that it was Israelites. You know why I challenged them so good? Because the FBI and the NYPD did an investigation. And I sat down with them and videotaped the conversation. And they said, we know it wasn't Israelites, but it's this protocol. We have to cover all areas. So Johnathan Greenblatt, you's a liar. You's a liar, the Bible speaks of. Let me get.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha Ha Quadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops, the elder bishops as well of Great Millstone. Honors as well, since a sincere salute as well to you other brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, the hopeful elect and the elect, and Shalom. Anyway, I don't know where I came across this video, but it popped up. And I wanted to touch into it. I'm not going to be able to go deep into this video because of, because the content, well, you know how it goes. So I'll probably only post it on 1 or 2 channels of mine. But for the most part, we want to get the message out. Anyway, this is, I actually saw Bishop Nathaniel's response to the ADL, Johnathan Greenblatt. I think that's his name. Johnathan Greenblatt. Yep. So what I found out was interesting, just by looking up this word. But let's go to Luke 8:17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not come abroad. We say that because all the truth now is coming out, of who we are, and everything else is coming out about it. And now with the Anti-Defamation League, which is a non-profit organization, is now saying that if you speak anything bad against us of these particular people, then you can bring harm and hatred. But I'm going to show you, which we should already know, but I just want to bring it to light or expose the fact that we're going to show that when we look up this word anti-defamation, goes from the word defamation, which ultimately goes to defame. Now, the threat is we say things, and as Bishop Nathaniel said, they showed the white man up there, and well, this is obvious of all the things and the trickery that is being done. And we're going to go into the scriptures. But also, we see this as what he's saying. Johnathan Greenblatt is saying all these things about if you say these things, then these things start to play out. Now, we can also see in the rap industry of all the things of the defamation, right, that is being played out on our people. And we know who run, or let's say who is the CEOs of these industries. It says the act of communicating false statements about a person that injure the reputation of that person. So we can clearly see it's about the reputation that these people have that they're trying to maintain. That's how you maintain that structure. It's a lot of things I'm going to say that I can't say fully, but you'll get the point. You'll get to the point. You get the point, right? So there was a lot of things that was said and actually done on our people, like the crack addiction, the heroin, the drug addiction, when it was clear that we make up a small percentage of the population, but made up mostly the big percentage of the prison system. So we could clearly see how things are played out or spoken about and pushed in effect to affect us in the long run, right? It says defame means to harm the reputation of by communicating false statements, right? They said we were the most welfare recipients, the highest rate of welfare, statistically probably, because we make up a small percentage. But as Israelites, we Hosea 1:10, Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, cannot be measured or numbered, the Israelites. But these are defaming statements that was put on us. Now, shouldn't the police be also in the ADL? Because I remember getting pulled over 4 times in one weekend, right? My car searched, pulled out, pulled over, thrown to the side, sat on a curve because I looked like somebody that fit the description. Yeah, that's defaming as well, isn't it? All these things that are done to us, and then all the police get out there, even our own people link with these cops who will sit up there and say, well, these people are trouble. And then they don't look at us individually, right? When them cops pulled the gun out on Emmett Till and shot that young man because he had a toy gun, well, they stereotyped him and judged him. And why did this happen? Because it was a defamation of the people. It says to harm reputation by communicating false statements about, to harm the reputation of the libel, by the libel. So you have a situation where these people have managed to set up rap gangs and gang violence, Bloods and Crips and everything else, and flood the streets with the guns and the violence and the music to go along with it. And then when these things play out, they could say, well, this is what these people really are. We don't really have to say it's defaming them because it's actually a true statement. But how were you able, through your subtlety, to cause these people to err like that? Well, ultimately the Most High did it. But how did you cause these people to err like that just so you can come back? Right? That's the worst kind of defamation. The worst kind of defamation is pushing an idea on somebody to do something, subconsciously control them, and then come back and say, see, this is what you've done. This is like taking a woman, an innocent woman, putting drugs in her drinks, mind-altering drugs, and then when she does something crazy that she can't remember, you say, well, this is what you've done, and they replay it on the screen when ultimately she was coerced and tricked into that defamation. That's still a form of defamation. When you trick somebody, cause them to err, make them do certain things, and then come back and say, see, that's what they did. But they didn't willingly do it. So the police should be in the ADL. The judicial system itself should be on the top list of the ADL. Let's get I want to go to Job and go to the New Testament as well. Job 1:1, and it looks like 7. It says, I'm going to go to 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to the presence of the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So you got Satan always in lurking. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence thou comest? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth. Right? Hey, that's proving that the Lord set up Satan to do all the things that he does. Right? So there would be a people in general what would be the head of defamation. Okay? And for walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he have on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he have in thy power, only upon thyself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So that tell you that Satan is in control of all of this. You know, the elect will be tested, because the same thing that Job, in a sense, initially has gone through, the elect has been tested. That's why the scripture says judgment must begin with the house of Yahweh. If it first begin with us, what is it? What is it for them that believe not? Right. So, you know, the defaming goes way back. You know, but the Lord is going to vindicate his elect. Right. Let's go to 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeketh whom he may devour. And the reason why I'm going into this, just to tie it all in, it's hard to really, you know, go all the way in on this video. But the reason why I'm going on this and I'm pulling these particular scriptures, because as Job really did nothing, right? As we have now come into the truth, we have sinned, and we're trying to do the best of our ability. We are now, let me say, the ones that's in the truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect, has done nothing wrong, but will still be persecuted, just like Yahushua will still be persecuted. And we still have to push Satan behind, man, because ultimately, again, I wanted to do this video, as Psalms 83:4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And the remembrance is happening, the awakening is happening, and now we've been defamed on high levels, right? They've told us that we wasn't Israelites, right? They told us we were Canaanites. That's another lie. You know, just because you see two black people don't mean they're the same nation. And this is through the biggest defamation is what they did to Yahushua with that image of white Jesus. That's why we shouldn't be calling on that name. I put the clip of Bishop Nathaniel, but you shouldn't be calling on that name, Jesus the Christ. You're defaming the Lord's name. That's anti-defamation as well. Shouldn't be doing that. So all these things that we were told that the history books have lied about, now they did keep in there the fact that to show you we were lynched and beaten, and that was just for them to show their superiority and dominance. But the Lord allowed that to happen. Another thing you did is you took all the pages out of the Bible and gave us the Bible back with only a few scriptures in there, and then you universalized the Bible. And then you said God loved everybody even after the Bible was just for us. Then you made us be your slave, your servants. And I wonder what was going on when this man talks about, when you look at this anti-defamation, it's a private sector that was for them originally. But then somehow they threw us in there as long as we would believe who we were. But now we're coming out of that realm and saying, no, we're not some black Negro or some black Canaanite or Hamite. We are those people. That's where they have the problem at. Right? That's where they have the problem at. So all these defamation and all that happened to us, the lies about who we were, where we came from, no history before the 1600s, well, let me say the 1500s on us. Some people will leak it out and say that we were kings in West Africa or whatever they say, but no true history on us and what we were, who we were, or anything. The biggest defamation has been committed on us and our people, and this whole country's not on the list. The police department nor the judicial system is on this list. And they should be the first ones on the list. And we know who should be on that list, on the top of the list. That's all I have on that. Shalom.